Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. And this continues to be the place for conscious, purpose driven entrepreneurs who are looking to remove the blocks that hold you back from your purpose so that you can manifest abundance through it and assist in creating heaven on earth. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I wanted to share with you today something that frequently comes up in all of my sessions. It almost always happens every single time in the very initial session, and it usually takes a couple of sessions to move through. And that is the inability to connect with the body. That it is very common when people have not experienced even exposure to what is complex trauma, let alone somatic healing therapies of any kind, or working through removing blocks, doing some of the shadow work. Usually, if they've had experience with that, the ability to tap into the body and allow the blocks to move happens much quicker. And so it dawned on me that this is likely a very common problem. If someone has not worked on healing trauma or experienced somatic healing therapy, there is a high likelihood that you're disconnected from the body. And the body is such a tremendous resource. It is sort of the beginning stages of understanding your value and worth and remembering who you are. And that reminds me, I am so excited. I mentioned this on Monday. I want to mention it again here today. I've got a name for you. This is really just an extension of the More Than Okay masterclass that we just did, that is all about remembering your wholeness, remembering that you are already enough. And it's such an exciting topic, and it requires so much more than just an hour of training. It really requires this somatic work to get the limbic brain, right? The subconscious reptilian part of the brain to start to embody the belief that I am enough. And in order to do that, I realized I need to be physically available for all of you to be able to share this trauma spotting modality with you. And in order to do that, it would require doing a group session and training you how to do it. So what I'm going to do is a mastermind, an 8-week mastermind where we meet weekly. I'm going to meet with each of you individually. So you'll get a one-on-one. Then we'll come together for those 6 weeks in between the initial one-on-one and the last one-on-one. And we will do group trauma spotting sessions together. So we'll have a topic of the day. Maybe it's overgiving or people pleasing or control or wearing a mask or anger issues or whatever. There's going to be, I'm working on that, an agenda. So there will be a topic for each day. And then we will sort of talk about the cognitive piece that you need to start to open you up to the new beliefs that are necessary. And then we will go into trauma spotting in groups. I'll give you a brief synopsis of how to do it. And then we'll break out into groups, and you'll be paired up with one person where you will both each give each other a trauma spotting session. And we're going to do that for 6 weeks in between the first and last 2 weeks. So total of 8 weeks. But 6 weeks diving in, because there are 6 very specific topics that are very common. Every person feels them. Things like, feeling abnormal, feeling I can't be normal, like I don't fit in, right? Overgiving, people pleasing, those are, some of the common ones. So we'll dig into those. We will address them all. The beauty is, it has been said that it takes about 6 to 8 sessions to move through your trauma and really start to feel like you are blossoming into the person who you were meant to be, which means healthy relationships, which means making more money, which means being able to improve your health, because as you relieve your body of the trauma it's been holding on to, you become more healthy. Your body naturally is able to heal, especially when you relieve it of maintaining all of this other crap. So if you're interested, let me know. Link coming. Hopefully it will be on this video when I post it. I'm working on that. Otherwise, I will make a quick comment in the following hours after it's posted. And this will be available in the very near future. I'm thinking we're going to start in May to give me some time to prepare, give you some time to join in. But I would love, love, love to see you there. This is the next level in scaling this modality, this ability to heal, because This channel is all about you who are made for something big, but can't step into it because of the conditioning and the programming and the trauma, that inability to connect with your body. So, getting back on track, when we are numb, when we are not feeling our body, that tends to happen because we've experienced so much pain. So, in the psychology world, it's called disassociation. We detach from our body. In the light worker community, it looks like meditating all day, or astral traveling, or working with dreams and preferring to sleep and sleeping a lot throughout the day. It may even look like your body's not your friend. You can feel like, because your body felt the pain that was necessary to communicate to you what was happening, right? Pain is designed to get you to move away from the hot stove when you touch it. Anger is designed to get you to make a change when someone is not treating you improperly, or someone's not treating you properly, which of course you can't do as a child. And so then the body has to hold on to that, because you're not able to essentially close the trauma loop. So what happens is, when you experience this external environmental circumstance, maybe you have a father who drank too much, or your mother was emotionally unavailable. She just literally was never around, right? And maybe you were isolated a lot, or maybe you were abandoned and left alone. The fear became too much. And what happens is, the reptilian part of the brain recognizes danger, danger, danger. And so it triggers the fight or flight mechanism or response, but you never come back to a place of safety or resolve to close that trauma loop. And so it's stuck inside your body. The emotion that you felt, the fear, the anger, was designed to get you to move. And because you couldn't make the movement that was necessary, you then had to hold on to that. And you have been holding on to that for your entire life if you have not reached out for somatic healing therapies. Right. So then what happens? The body is in pain. We're constantly feeling this fear, feeling this anxiety, feeling depression, feeling aggression. And so the body seems to be the source of our pain. So we have to find ways to numb out. Right. Maybe that looks like scrolling on social media for hours. Maybe it's binging on YouTube or Netflix. Like I said, maybe you're meditating all day. You're living in your upper chakras. You're out here in the ether. You don't want to be grounded here in your body, in this reality. I will often hear people say, I don't belong here. I just want to go home. Home is where your heart is. And I know that saying has been said in a different way, but it's not just about the physical structure of where the people you love live, but rather you are home. And so many of my clients have said, I finally feel like I came home. The home you are seeking is not out there. Whether or not you identify as an extraterrestrial coming from another planet or not, doesn't matter. Home is inside your body. And so when you feel like you're not home, or you can't find home, you're looking in the wrong direction. What we want is in the body. Okay. Hopefully you don't mind the thunder and lightning, and it's getting dark in here and there's all sorts of lighting changes, but the message is all that matters, right? So, like I said, binging on YouTube or Netflix. Maybe you're shopping a lot, because we can get a high from shopping. Maybe you're spending too much. You know it's too much when you start to hurt yourself if you can't pay your bills, or your credit card bills are really high. Maybe it's a porn addiction. Maybe it's video games all day. Maybe it's alcohol or drugs. Again, notice all of these are feeding you hormones or chemicals, natural chemicals, that unless it's alcohol or drugs, but still they're triggering the release of natural chemicals in your body. The things that you are seeking that you didn't get from your relationships, from your home environment, right? So we need, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, number one, you need to feel safe. That's the most common lacking factor in all of my clients, is we lack or lacked in the past safety, right? Relationships, right? Connection, being of service, all of these things, you need to be seen, safe, heard, cared for, and loved. Those are the 5 go-tos. And when you receive those things, there is a natural chemical cocktail released in your body that makes you feel good. When you didn't receive these things, your brain and body know they still need these chemicals. And so they will go out and find ways to create them. right? It creates a feeling of pleasure in the body, but usually, like video games is dopamine, or porn addiction. I haven't dug into it, but I know that relationships create a release of serotonin. So who knows if there's a connection there or what that hormone is, but you're looking for those missing hormones. And you're creating that in an unresourceful way in your body because you naturally need it. And that's really the thing to notice here is don't beat on yourself that you have never, or no one has ever, I don't like to say definitives, it is not recommended nor scientifically proven that you will solve your problems from a place of beating on yourself. In fact, you just create and perpetuate more of the problem when you are taking on the voice of your abuser. You don't have to reject your current state to be able to step into your higher self, to fully actualize, to become the best version of you. So don't beat on yourself for the things you have done. Just know that they are natural. They're natural desires to meet this need for happy hormones and chemicals in your body. It's a natural need, and you didn't know better. You didn't know what was happening. You didn't have the proper support or resources to teach you why you were feeling this way or how to do things naturally or properly or resourcefully, right? So give yourself the grace to say, okay, it happened. I was there, not a big deal. I don't have to be there anymore. I recognize I need serotonin. I need relationships. I need dopamine. I'm going to go for a workout. I'm going to make a to-do list and check off a box. There's all sorts of ways. A quick Google search can share that with you. Otherwise, I could do another video. We'll see if we get around to that. But really, it's about meeting your needs and recognizing that you deserve to have your needs met. That, I don't know if anybody told you, but you are okay just as you are. There's nothing wrong with you. Yes, you have probably a couple of trauma responses that we need to stop doing. But beyond that, you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. There's not a single thing about you that was made by accident. You were made with intention and purpose, and everything about you is necessary to support the purpose and the reason you are here. And so we need to stop rejecting ourselves, stop beating ourselves up. No amount of negativity towards ourselves is ever going to make a change for the positive. And then recognize we just need to meet those needs. So notice that an unhappy life stems from an unhappy brain and body, right? The brain was not getting the external stimuli it needed to create the happy hormones to make the body happy. Now, all sorts of things happen in the gut and in the heart and in the brain. There are literal neurons in the heart and gut, just as they are in the brain. They all have their own individual functions, individual consciousnesses, if you will. Obviously, they have different functions, but we are made of parts. We have lots of different parts. And if the parts of us are not happy, we don't feel happy, right? So an unhappy brain and body lead to you feeling unhappy, right? So know that distractions will only perpetuate the issue. Things like alcohol and drugs are killing your microbiome, unhappy gut, unhappy feelings, right? Constant and chronic stress, living in hypervigilance. These are destroying your brain, limiting the blood flow to your brain, literally cutting you off from your vital resources, your life force energy, which of course is going to make you feel like crap, right? So bring this back to the body, right? Sorry. We have to be able to make friends with our body to be able to be happy, to come back home, to feel safe in our body and okay with who we are, not just okay, more than okay, to feel like I'm enough, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, right? And remembering that you are a conscious, creative being, you are here to create, you are creating more of the same as long as you refuse to look at the shadow or the trauma. And you will continue to perpetuate that cycle. You'll continue to draw to you those painful circumstances that want you to, or will cause you to want to disassociate from your body, disconnect from your body. And then that will cut you off from your manifestation mechanism because your vibration goes through your body. This is a whole big vicious loop and cycle that will just keep going and going and going. And add to that, because as if that weren't enough, add to that, the brain thinks it's in charge of solving all your problems. Yes, the brain is in charge of keeping you safe. and it likely has done a pretty decent job so far. We can be grateful for what it has done so far because, again, it doesn't know better either, even though it's the thing that tells you to not be in the body. The brain will go round and round and round. Have you ever noticed that hamster wheel of just thinking and thinking and thinking and overthinking and thinking too much about this problem that you think you need to solve? Trying to solve the problem from the level of the mind instead of being in the body. And I believe it was Einstein said that it is insanity to try to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, that you cannot solve a problem from the level of consciousness in which it was created, which means the brain is the one that scanned the world and figured out what the problem was, figured out who you need to be in it, and stuffed down who you were and what you needed because it identified you as the source of the problem, and then disassociated or disconnected you from the body because that also is a source of pain and it must be something that we can just cut ourselves off from. Right. So recognize that the brain is not necessarily your friend. These perpetual thoughts about the problem are most definitely not your friend. That voice that tells you there's a problem, even when there's not a problem, is not your friend. I call it the little trauma demon that sits on my shoulder. One of my favorite clients calls it the Larry the liar. You know, you could call it perpetuating Pete. You could call it or pessimistic Pete or negative Nancy, right? Whatever name you want to give it, separate it from yourself because it is not you. It is the voice that believes that what happened back then is going to continue to happen. And it, oddly enough, the voice that tells you it's going to happen is the belief system that believes it's going to happen, that creates the manifestation, the vibration, and the attraction of more of the same. So we really got to box that little trauma demon up, put him in a box, put a chain around it, cement it, glue it shut, you know, tie it to an anchor, throw it in the ocean, whatever you got to do. Use some NLP to distance it from you and bury you it or bury it, bury you it. I don't know what that was supposed to be. To bury it, right? Get rid of that trauma demon, get rid of that voice, and start to notice when he pops up, what happens in the body, right? So we want to bring it back to the body. Always come back to the body. The body is the key to freedom, to everything you seek, literally. Your body is, think about, why do we need a body? If we are just a soul having an experience, a human experience, why do we need a body? The body allows us, it's an instrument, it's like a tuning fork. The body helps us feel the emotions. This whole experience is about emotion. We create from emotion, from frequency, from vibration. Notice emotion is different than feeling. I've said this many times before, so I'm not going to go too deep, and I think there's a video on it. But emotion is the sensation in the body versus a feeling that is the sensation plus a story, right? I feel kind of, something's not quite right. And oh, I remember the last time I felt that way, somebody, you know, stole my money. And so everyone is bad and all people are bad and I can't trust anyone. That's a feeling, right? You added on your story to the emotion coming from the body. The emotion can be trusted. The feelings need to be questioned. Now, we will add another caveat because there's always one. The body will respond. The emotion is responding, even though the trauma response is always right. The body is responding to the belief system, the program, the subconscious beliefs of the stories that you are telling yourself, right? So you want to be careful and kind of look for what comes first. So that's what we're getting to here. Notice the body when you feel that tension, when you feel restriction, when you feel the knot in your stomach, when you feel triggered, right? When somebody says something and you feel like, you just want to lunge at them without thinking or contemplating what you're going to say, you're going to just respond, right? So response without thinking usually is a trigger, right? When you say things you don't really mean, or you're a bit more aggressive than you really would have been if you had been calmer, right? That is the trigger. That is coming from a place of limiting belief. That's coming from a trauma response. So the body helps us see that, right? We sometimes, because thoughts happen at the speed of light, you have 80 to 90,000 thoughts a day. And I think 70% of them are repeated, 60%, something like that. I haven't checked that number in a long time, so don't quote me on that. It's been a while. But point is, the body will help you see, right? This can be a loop. Sometimes the thought can come before the emotion, sometimes the emotion before the thought. This is how you start to get ahead of it. Now, you've heard people talk about being the observer, and that's what I mean by being ahead of it, is we're sort of detaching our consciousness. We're pulling away from our body, from our minds, so that we can watch these things happen as if we're an outside observer. That creates space between the thought and the reaction. And the space is necessary so we can start to see what created what, and is it ultimately true, right? This is where we want to do the work, right? Is it, I want to say Brene Brown. I'm not sure I'm quoting that right. Just want to give credit where credit is due. That is not mine. Doing the work, creating the space, watching the thought, and checking, is this ultimately true? Love What Is the book. So check that out, whoever that wrote that book. You are allowing yourself to separate from the what's happening in that moment, the thoughts and the feelings, so that you can question it, challenge it, and reprogram it. Right. So what will happen is you will have this thought of, everyone's always bad. I can't trust anyone. They're always mean to me. I always get hurt. Right. So that's the belief. And it will happen in the microseconds. So that's why this space and slowing down and becoming the observer is necessary. You need to be able to notice when the body wants to recoil, right? Shrink back, play small. All of these terms come from what's happening in the body when we retract and we go into defense. We are in a trauma response. We've gone into fight or flight or fawn or freeze, because we have the belief that people are always bad. And so that's what helps us kind of get a hold of the trauma demon voice, separate ourselves from that, catch that, replace that, and say, no, I choose not to believe that anymore, and search for the evidence to prove that to you. And that is a whole nother video in and of itself, is moving from just saying it, right? Hearing it in your head to knowing it in your body. But again, we first have to start with making friends with our body. And that's what we're trying to do here in this video. Feed your body healthy thoughts, right? This is a beautiful awareness that has come to me recently. I believe Aaron Abke delivered this message. You cannot lack what you do not give. You cannot lack what you give. Said a better way, you can only lack what you do not give, right? You can only lack what you do not give. So think about that in the context of healing trauma and reprogramming these beliefs around safety. Feed your body, feed your mind with the positive belief that I am safe. Look for the evidence of being supported and safe. Right now, I'm in my house. There's no one here. These four walls keep me safe from the lightning and the thunder, right? My chair supports my body. It keeps me safe from falling on the floor. There is evidence all around you that proves to you you are safe. We just have to start to look for it. Give the brain the evidence of what it needs to prove it, so that you can feel it, so that you can embody that belief, right? You can only lack what you do not give. That means give it to yourself. That means have the thoughts, feed your thoughts, feed your mind, feed your body the beliefs, the thoughts that support the opposite of what the trauma voice wants to tell you. It's important to remember that you are no longer in the situation where it was necessary to defend yourself, but the trauma brain will continue to tell you you still are. But likely, if it was in childhood or a toxic relationship, that was a long time ago and you're no longer there. I just noticed, got a fuzzball on me. That's fun. So let's see what else. If you give your body an abundance of love, abundance and love will be returned to you, right? So if you are feeding your thoughts, feeding your brain, feeding your mind, feeding your body with the belief that I am safe, money flows to me easily and effortlessly, I'm supported in every way, everything always works out to me for me, right? The divine loves me. Your body was made in the image of your creator and animated with the breath of life. Your body could not be more precious. You could not be more precious. You are valuable. To say things like, I am worthy. I deserve every possible thing and scenario on planet Earth. I deserve all the wealth and riches. Did you know that gold and silver were made and placed in the Garden of Eden? Abundance is your birthright. You deserve every single thing you desire or dream of. There's not a single thing that is off limits. It all boils down to your ability to know you're worthy and to feel it in your body, to feel your body. I realize this video is getting a little bit long, so I'll give you one last tip on how to get into your body, right? If you struggle with being in your body, you have that feeling of being numb, start with just feeling your feet on the ground. Start with wiggling your feet or wiggling your toes, feeling your feet, feeling the tingling in your feet, and then work all the way up, limb by limb, joint by joint, section by section. Feel each body, spend some time with it. Get to your heart and imagine your heart. Imagine the portal of the chakra of your heart opening, breathing in and out through your heart. Imagining the back of the heart chakra. The heart chakra goes all the way through, and so many of us are closed on the back, especially for fear of being stabbed in the back, right? Open up both back and front. Imagine that breath going in and out through the heart chakra, all the way in and out. And then you can imagine that torus field of energy that goes in and out through your heart, all the way around you. Look up a torus field if you've never seen one. The visual is important because your mind is creating. You want to know what that looks like. And then keep going up every chakra, every joint, right? Just feel your body. Practice feeling your body. Be in your body as often as you possibly can. If you've ever get triggered, immediately go to your body and notice what area of your body is activated and when was the first time you felt that way. Just a really quick example. I know I promised I'd wrap it up. There's so much that wants to come through today. Money blocks. Money blocks are directly connected to your sense of value and worth. This is why we're doing the mastermind around knowing that you are more than enough so that you can have better relationships, so that you can have more wealth in your life, so that you can build the business, the purpose that you were made for, so that you can assist in creating heaven on earth, right? Your value and worth is directly connected to how much abundance is in your life, which means if you have that trauma demon telling you that you're a problem, you're not going to bring in abundance. But when you notice the trigger, you feel it in your body, you go, oh, when was the last time I felt this way? Oh, that was when I was 14 and my stepfather was physically abusive and my mother wasn't going to do anything about it. And so I left the house and crawled out the window and said, you know what? I'll handle it on my own. And at that point, I developed hypervigilance around money and finances and being cared for and being supported and the masculine, right? And I didn't realize that until I started doing the trauma work. So your abundance blocks, the things that you desire that you can't seem to achieve, are being held back by the inability to be in the body and the inability to sit with the triggers, the emotions, the feelings of the trauma that you experienced when you were young or in a toxic relationship. Okay, this one's really, really long. So thank you for sticking with me. Please do like, subscribe, share if you know anybody who can benefit from this. It helps spread the word. This will change the world, guys. I need your help. It takes an army. So, hit that like button at the very least. Otherwise, join me for the upcoming mastermind. I'm so excited. In 8 weeks, you could be catapulted from your place of trauma into a new life, better relationships, better health, better wealth, finances. What else? I don't know. That's usually the big three. So, all right. I love you, my friends. I will see you on the next video. Check below for the link for that mastermind starting in May, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Love you. Bye.